Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ellie if you've never been here before, and on this channel I upload whatever I want. It's that time. It is episode 15 of my Tackling the TBR series. If you have not seen any of these episodes that I've done on my channel before, you do not need to watch them in order. You don't even need to watch all of them. They don't really connect, but if you are curious and seeing the rest of the series, or starting from the beginning, I guess, I do have a playlist. I will link it up here. I suggest at least watching the first video if you're curious about my rules for myself. But basically, in July of 2024, I had 51 books that I physically owned. I have more than that now. I do have more than that. We don't need to talk about that, but I did have 51 books on my physical TBR, so books that I physically owned but have not read, and I put them all on slips of paper and put all those slips of paper into a Jellycat bag. All of the books were entered into the bag as many times that equal how many years it's been since they were published, if that makes sense. So if a book was published in 2024, it only had one slip, you know, we were in that year. But if a book was published in 1990, I don't know if I even had a book published in 1990, but if it was, then you can imagine I had 35 slips of paper. You can imagine how many slips of paper I had in the Jellycat bag. I had 459. We are now on book 28 out of 51. So there are quite a few slips in this Jellycat bag that can be taken out. Disclaimer, I do have books that I'm in the middle of the series, and some of them, like the Harry Potter series, I have books 5, 6, and 7, but I'm only on book 4. So if I pull the Harry Potter series, I can't read it. I'm just gonna put it back and move on until I read book 4 in my personal time, and then we can stick to the slips. Okay, this is episode 15. You should know by now what the drill is if you've been here before, so let's pull for my next book. Book 1 of this video. Book 28 of the series. I'm really nervous. Let's just pull. Let's just do it. Okay, this one feels thin. Oh! I don't want to read this. I have Duke Deputy Cowboy by Roz Denny Fox. This was inserted 12 times into the Jellycat bag. The good thing is it is a mass market paperback, which is also a bad thing. But the good thing is I have a stack. The reason why it's good is because I have a stack of mass market paperbacks that are left in my collection. I hate them. But I am running out of space on my shelves. There are gaps here. Whoa. That was a nice catch. I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back for that one. There are gaps here that I could just push books, you know, but this stack also signals to me, signifies, is that a word? Signifies is not a word, right? Indicates where my physical TBR is and where my red books are. So I don't want to like start moving them because it's just a nice stack of mass market paperbacks. They're all about the same size. So it means I'm dwindling down that stack so that way I can push books forward and have more space on my shelves. I do have a cart full of books that I have not read yet, but because those were acquired after the July 2024 date of me starting the series, they don't count, so they're not part of this challenge. I got this book. It is a Harlequin romance. I got this book in a little free library when I was with Ryan, and it was just a haha little joke that I grabbed it, and now it's part of the series. I don't even know what this is about. It does say larger print and it's pretty thin, so maybe I'll be able to read this like pretty quickly, hopefully. Who knew that I was gonna read who knew I was gonna read this in September? I mean, maybe August. Well, no, tomorrow's the last day of August, first week of September. Maybe I'll read this, you guys. It is 284 pages, but it is large print font, so take a good look at that. Let me read the synopsis to you guys, okay? His heart is on the line. Deputy Sheriff and aspiring rodeo star Dylan Duke Adams has his hands full with the recent string of burglaries in Roundup, Montana, especially when the thief strikes at his family's ranch. Duke is trying to focus on the case, but he can't stop thinking about a different thief, the petite blonde who just stole his heart. Angie Barrington can't stand the rodeo, though she's seen plenty of abused rodeo animals at her rescue ranch. For Angie, it runs even deeper. No matter how kind and compassionate Duke is, at the end of the day, he's still a cowboy, right? When Duke makes the Nationals, he finally has a chance to bring prestige and much needed money to Thunder Ranch. But if competing means losing the woman of his dreams, how can he ever win? We will see how I feel about this. Alright, you guys, we have our first update for this Tackling the TBR episode. I have been reading Duke Deputy Cowboy by Ross Denny Fox for a little bit now. I'm 70 pages in. I'm on chapter 4 and I don't have much to say, but at the same time I also do want to talk about it. I wasn't going into this with high expectations, but this book is still not meeting the standard that I'm setting for it. It's just honestly boring, and the writing style is just not good. Like, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be like critical without giving examples. So I will give examples of why I don't think this is good writing style, but I am 70 pages. It's very, very easy to read in the sense that there's no big words and it's pretty easy to understand, but because it's so boring, it's harder to read because I am just like not feeling it. The reason why I think the writing is just not good or up to like what I would consider good is because it's a lot more telling rather than showing, and there's a time and place, right? There's a time and place to be descriptive, but this is not descriptive. It's just, let's say the author's trying to introduce a character's relationship with somebody. So Margaret happens to be Stephen's mother. Okay, I'm just saying random names here. I feel like if the author is going to tell us who Margaret is to Stephen, then the author could easily just tell us. Like, you don't necessarily need to show us, right? The author could say, Stephen saw his mother, Margaret, walking towards him. You know, like, there's a better way to say it. There's a more, like, flowery, descriptive way to say it. Maybe more beautiful. But you can say it. You can get away with telling us as the author. But if you're gonna have the character tell us who Margaret is to him, then the character should not say,
"Have you seen Margaret, my mother?"
Like, that's the type of writing in here. Like, the character would not say, "Have you seen so-and-so, my blah blah blah?" Like, you wouldn't say that to your own sibling who shares the same parent. Like, I would not go to my sister and be like, "Have you seen Maudie, my mother?" Like, you know, like, my sister knows who Maudie is. And it's just constant. It's like, that's how the author is telling us who this person is or what this person does. And it's just like, it just seems just too much. It like takes me out every time, and it's a lot, you guys. So I am 70 pages in. Like it says in the synopsis, Duke is a deputy sheriff, and his cousin actually just so happens to be like the main sheriff. I don't know. There's been a string of burglaries at nearby ranches within the town. The like most recent like hit has been on their family's ranch and they can't afford it. So now they're like kind of taking it serious. Not that they haven't been taking it serious, but like whatever. And it's just also cringing me out because it's reading like a Western, like a cowboy, you know, like setting. But then he'll be like, he pulled out his BlackBerry and his, are you going to send that to Colt's iPhone? Like, no, just text Colt. Like, just say, are you going to text that to Colt? Like, why do I have to say, are you going to send that to Colt's iPhone? Like, I just can't, you guys. I just really can't. I'm obviously going to continue, but just know I'm cringing every other page. Also, I'm annoyed because, like, where's the romance? Like, we've been introduced to the female main character. Well, I guess she's not a main character. We've been introduced to the female love interest, and I'm just waiting for that to pick up because this is supposed to be a romance. So I'm like waiting for the romance. Like, I don't care about the stolen horse. I'm sorry, I don't, because I didn't pick up the book for the mystery of it all. So yeah, the love interest, her name is Angie, and she is a single mother, and she has like somewhat of an interesting backstory, and so that's intriguing to read about, and like why she hates like rodeos and how she hates living in this town that's like so revolving, like so centered around rodeos and whatever the lifestyle is, the cowboy lifestyle is. Even though like she like cares a lot about animals, she has like a rescue, she like bakes like horse treats, and so she takes care of animals and like has this ranch lifestyle. She like lives on a ranch, but she hates the rodeo of it all, because it's like connected to her baby daddy basically, who dipped. So I do like the glimpses that we get of her, but we've literally got 2 glimpses of her in the 70 pages. Like, I think maybe if this story was shown through her perspective, maybe I would like it a little bit more. I still don't like the writing, but maybe I would be enjoying it a little bit more. The fact that it's through him, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care that you're a sheriff. I don't care that your family's horse has been stolen, that you were hurt in the rodeo. Like, can we please move on, you know? So anyways, I don't know how much further I'm gonna read today. I'm really hoping I finish this soon because I kind of want to pause and read some stuff that I want to read, like mood read, you know, because I'm being forced to read this through this series. But yeah, it's really, like, when I do pick it up, it does go by quick. The font is large, and like I said, there isn't a lot of like brain power behind reading, but I just wish I had the audiobook so I could just like put it on and do things. I just feel like I'm wasting time reading it, you know? And I think it's more because I've been in like a book slump the past few weeks. I feel like I've been in a book slump for like a month now, and it's just, I just want to read what I want to read, you know? Good morning, guys. It's currently 6:57 on September 3rd, and I am about to go to my first sub day. This is not a sub day vlog, obviously. You guys are still watching an episode of the Tackling TBR series, but I'm taking my book with me to work today, and I am subbing in a high school classroom, so the odds of me being able to read are a lot higher than if I was just subbing in an elementary classroom. And at the high school that I'm subbing at, there's 70-minute class periods, so even if I don't read while I am actively monitoring, supervising, teaching, I will have a 70-minute prep period to read. So we'll see how much reading I get done today, but I wanted to check in just in case I do finish the book at school. Honestly, I'm not sure if I will, but there is a chance that I do. So we will see. I'm going to, like I said, bring my book with me. I'm kind of hoping I do finish it. Like, I think that would be cool, and then I can pick another book. But then at the same time, I don't know. I'm hoping, but it's not necessarily a goal. Like, it's kind of like a far off hope. So we will see. I'm going to leave in a couple minutes here. I'm not bringing my camera, so I know I'm not going to be able to like check in there, so that's why I wanted to film this clip, but I'll see you guys later. All right, guys, I'm checking in because I finished, what was his name? Duke Deputy Cowboy or something like that. I don't even think I really checked in. I just kept reading at times where I was not getting footage. I think I might have checked in like once, but the other night I just decided to just finish it because I wanted to be done with it and move on to a book that I had started on my trip, which I'm so glad I did because I'm loving reading One Golden Summer. And like I said, I will go over my final ratings and reviews at the end of this video like I always do, but for just a little recap, things didn't really get better. As I mentioned earlier on in this video, I think when I checked in, the dialogue was just like not realistic to me. Like, people don't talk that way, and I would think that in everything. Also, very little romance in a romance book, so it was more about rodeos, and I don't know. Also, the crime that takes place in the story, spoiler alert, not solved. Like, it was just, I'm not going to continue the series, so that was just kind of annoying, you know? So anyways, I have plans for reading in September where I have maybe like 3 other books that I want to read before I even get to this book, but because I finished it, it's just like so exciting to pick the next book. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll check in whenever I do start reading that book. Hopefully I can get an audiobook out of it, or like maybe I can find it on my Kindle, or maybe I'll just read it physically, I don't know. But I'm kind of needing an audiobook moment, so fingers crossed. There's also some books that are like being turned into movies that I have, like People We Meet on Vacation. I discovered at my library like a couple days ago that Aristotle and Dante is a movie and it's rentable, so I can watch that. But Project Hail Mary is becoming a movie. There's a few options. Let's just get into the Jellycat bag portion and see what the second book of this video will be. I'm very nervous. I feel a thick one. It's nice and folded up. Where's the text? Is it on this side? It might be upside down. Can you guys see that? It is upside down. What is it? The Inheritance Games. Wait. This is on my September TBR or fall TBR. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It was only entered 4 times. This is actually so exciting. Sucks that it had to be in a video with a book that sucked, but here she is, The Inheritance Games. It is 374 pages, maybe a little less because I think I actually, 372 pages. I don't know exactly when I get to this, but it was included in my fall TBR, so I want to read this very soon. I'm so excited. Good morning, everybody. Today is, just for reference, not that anybody asked, today is Monday, September 29th. I don't remember when I started this video or finished the first book of this video. It's been a while, but I feel like why even bring it up if every single episode of my Tackling the TBR series I read a book and then I'm like, oh, it's been a while. I guess I don't really need to go into that, but I'm always in the middle of at least one book. I try to keep it to one, to be honest, because I have just found that like if I have too many, I just get overwhelmed. I'm more of like a tick off things type of person. That's just the way that my brain works. And so I feel accomplished when I'm in the middle of one book and I finish it and can move on to the next one. But obviously things happen to where you are in the middle of multiple. I also read for fun, but I do tend to find myself in situations where I am reading books that, it's not that I don't want to read them. I do want to read them. It's just the order in which I read them is not necessarily up to me all the time because of this challenge, because of the buzzword reading challenge, because of book club. So I'm trying to catch up to the point where I'm reading enough to where I have time in the month to read books that I want to read without feeling guilty, which I shouldn't have to feel guilty because it's just reading. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But currently, the past like 3 months, I feel like I have only read books that I'm obligated to read. And of course, I'm not obligated to read anything. And a lot of the books are books that I want to read. Like if it's for book club, I have a say in what book we pick. And a lot of the time we pick a book that all of us want to read for some reason or other. And we all have very similar tastes. We don't have the same taste, but we have very similar tastes, at least in genre. So we are gonna pick a book that I'm probably going to enjoy. For Buzzword Reading Challenge, I'm the one that's picking those books. So I should be picking books that I want to read. And I do my best every year of fulfilling the prompts with books that are on my physical TBR. And if they're not on my physical TBR, I go to my Goodreads and I find books that I want to read, at least, that I might not own. I'm not just pulling a book because it fits the prompt. I've never heard anything about it. Occasionally there will be a prompt, probably like once a year, that I just cannot fulfill with my physical TBR or with my just want to read list on Goodreads. I just have to find one, but that's rare, you know? Most of these books are books I want to read. But again, it's the timing of things. So like, I just would rather read Onyx Storm that I have mentioned in TBRs for like 3 months, and I've mentioned in like every single bookish video I filmed, because it's at the top of my mind as the next book I want to read. But when I am picking up books that I want to read that aren't necessarily fulfilling prompts, which is fine, and I should get to do that, but when I do that, it pushes off all of the books that I should be reading because of challenges, because of book club, because of these episodes. And then I get to points like where I am right now, where it's almost October. Today and tomorrow are the last days of September. October is coming, and I haven't read the August or September prompts for Buzzword Reading Challenge, and then we have already picked the next book club book for October, so that's 3 books. I've just picked a book, you obviously know it's in the Inheritance Games for Tackling TBR, so that's 4 books. And I already have ideas for like what I already put on my fall TBR that I want to read. And so if I keep picking books that I want to read that aren't fulfilling things, that like are challenges and book club stuff, that list just keeps getting longer and longer. What I am talking about for this 15-minute clip is crazy. The whole point of why I'm saying this is because I'm leaving for my trip on October 14th. That means I have 2 weeks from tomorrow to read as much as I can. Read a certain list of books by the time I leave for my trip, because there are specific books that I want to take with me, or that I'm willing to take with me. I don't want to waste today's reading, basically. The next book that I'm reading in this episode is The Inheritance Games. I'm actually excited to pick this up because it is on my fall TBR, and I pulled it organically out of the bag, which is crazy because I want to say there was like 4 entries. I can't remember exactly, but I bought this a while ago. I'm realizing there's sun damage on the top of this book. It's starting to become a little damaged from the sun. And it's because of the placement of my bookshelves. And so I'm thinking a lot of my books are probably damaged on the top. This one was definitely nearest to the window, so I can see a little bit more damage. Wear and tear is a part of being a book owner. But I do try to take care of my books, especially the ones that I haven't read yet and they're newer, just because if I don't want to keep them, I want to be able to give them to somebody else, whether it's through pangobooks or whether I put it in a little free library. Regardless, I want to give it to someone in great condition, so that way if they love it, they can have a good copy of it. So I need to talk to my husband about this, because we need to brainstorm a different place maybe for my bookshelves. I mean, they've been there since we moved in here 3 years ago. So I don't know where else we could put them, but it is just something I want to think about for the future. Also, I really only see my book collection growing at this point. Of course, with this series, I am reading books and unhauling them, and I have unhauled probably most of my collection from this series itself. Of course, I have a cart in my office of books that are not even part of this challenge that will eventually need a home, and if I'm honest, they won't fit on these shelves. So my collection is growing. I'm gonna need more shelves, but that's something I want to think about in terms of, as we are remodeling our house and decorating our house, placement of bookshelves and how to protect them as much as possible from sun damage, but also like mold and water damage. So I need to think about that, but I do only see my collection growing, I fear, and that's not really a problem in my head. But anyways, I'm excited to read this. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes' series, The Naturals. I have read all 4 of the books. The only one I need left is the novella, which is called 12. and I am excited to start a new series by her. That being said, this is a series, so I'm hoping I like it so I can continue the series. But I'm glad that I only own the first one, because if I don't like it, I can just move on. I do think I'm gonna like it though. I really do. It is Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I can read her books very quickly, and I've only ever physically read her books. The Natural series, I physically read all 4 of those. I looked on Libby already, and the audiobook and the ebook from my library are both ready to borrow within like 2 weeks at most. So the exciting thing about that is it might come in earlier, but what's even more exciting is that it is on Spotify, and I need to use my Spotify hours. I'm paying for them. So I think I'm gonna immersive read this, at least to start. And then if I feel myself like being able to handle just the audiobook, maybe I'll listen to only the audiobook while I work on other things or do other things. But I'm excited because this will be my second experience ever immersive reading, and my first experience was amazing and life-changing, so I'm excited to do that with this one. So sorry for talking your ear off, rambling. I just feel like I have to give context to everything, and I don't. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you do watch these videos, I know they can be very rambly. Anyways, I am going to start this, and I will check in when I have some formative thoughts. Alright guys, I didn't really expect to have an update for you. I actually need to get a bookmark because I didn't grab one when I started reading, so I'm gonna grab one now. But I read for just under an hour, and I was able to read 60 pages. So I got to page 60, and I am enjoying it so far. I do have some initial thoughts to share before I get too far into the story. I definitely want to talk about it before I get too far in, because I can really see myself continuing to read this one. I only sat for an hour and I got about 60 pages done, so I'm reading about a page per minute, and I feel like I could speed it up a little bit more. I'm even listening to it on 2 times speed. I'm listening to it on more than 2 times speed, so following the time left on Spotify, since I am immersive reading it, I can kind of trust the time. I would have about 4.5 hours of reading left to finish this, so I can finish this fairly quickly. But I just got to chapter 15. According to Spotify, that's 16% of the way through. I don't really have one that fits the vibes of this, but paper wise, I have this one that I made at book club. It's just like floral, and it has like just a little botanical print on it. But then I also have this one, which is funny because it has the same florals. I made this one myself at home though, and it's just green on this side. So I have these 2 options so far, but then I also have this metal one that I like rarely use. It says fell asleep here. I don't know, maybe because I rarely use this one, I should just use it. I don't know, but I'm on page 60. So let me flip open to that page, and I read it all in one sitting. You guys, something about immersive reading, I feel like I need to do it more often, because I was able to focus and sit there the whole time. I just sat there, which like, it's only an hour, right? Like, we should be able to do things for an hour and focus, but I have ADHD, and especially starting a book is hard for me to just do it in one go, but I love immersive reading. So far, my thoughts on this, like I said, I'm 60 pages in. I can't remember if I told you guys like the synopsis of this or the premise, but this is a very popular book. So if you have been anywhere in the bookish community, on bookish spaces on social media, you probably would have heard about it. But basically, main character's name is Avery, and her mother just passed away and her dad is nowhere to be found. And so she's kind of placed in custody of the state, and her half-sister, Libby, takes her in, and her half-sister is also like 7 years older than her, so she's probably like 24, to be honest. She takes Avery in, and it's kind of shocking to everybody because they didn't grow up together. They have the same dad, who is a deadbeat, and they don't know where he is, and different moms. And so it's just, it was shocking that she even took her in. But basically they also have no money. And Avery, the main character, is also kind of like in and out of living in her car because she hates her sister's boyfriend and he's abusive, and yeah, it's just, she doesn't want to be there. But essentially one day Avery is called into her principal's office and some strange boy is there, and he's like, you need to come with me. My grandpa died and your name is in the will, and we can't read the will unless you're there. So she goes, they read the will, and basically this man that died, this billionaire, has left almost everything to her, even more to her than his family. So we've already at this point in the story been introduced to, I think pretty much every character will probably be introduced to, and the premise, the setup. Avery and Libby, I think her sister Libby is going to move in with her at the Hawthorne house. So far they have just moved in. They had to move in within 3 days according to the will. And so yeah, they're living there now. I mean, literally they just walked in. The next chapter I think will continue from there. But yeah, this is the setup so far. I am hooked. I will say I don't have issues. I don't know what the word is. It's not an issue. I just do wish that the characters were a little bit older. I wish that Avery was not in high school. I don't even know how old she is, but she's in high school. So I wish that she was like maybe like 20, like just a little bit older, because the Hawthorne brothers are all like 19, I guess like 18, 19, 20, 21. I don't know. They're all like early 20s, like maybe 18, 19. And I just feel like, I know that Jennifer Lynn Barnes writes YA, and I know that this is a YA series, and I really have enjoyed Jennifer Lynn Barnes' YA in the past with the Natural series. And it kind of works that all of the characters are teenagers in those books, and I feel like it's a good depiction of teenagers. I just feel like I'll still enjoy this, and I mean, I'm enjoying it right now. I'm definitely hooked, but I just feel like it would have just added a little bit more like depth to the story if this was more of like a new adult rather than a YA. It still works, obviously, and I'm only 60 pages in to I don't even know how many book series. So I'm giving it a little bit of grace because I know starting any book, I'm a little bit more critical, but I just feel like it would like still work with older characters, and maybe it would be better. I don't know. If you've read the Inheritance Games, please don't spoil it, but in the comments, if you've read this and you kind of see what I'm saying, or if you agree with me, or if you think I should just like, I mean, I'm gonna continue either way, but maybe if you think that like it makes sense that they're teenagers, I don't know. I just want to hear people's thoughts because I know this is a very popular book and a lot of people want to read this or have read this already and have read the entire series, but I'm excited to see what I think of this series compared to the Naturals, because I love the Natural series and I love those characters and I think about them actually quite frequently. So I want to see where this one lands because I feel like a lot of people like the Inheritance Games more than the Naturals, but then I also think the opposite. So I don't know. I love the cover of these, so I can't wait to have the series. I'm sure I will. I'm sure I'll enjoy this and have the whole series. I can't wait to have them put together because like even just the covers here on the back, I think they're so cool, like cool looking. I love the color, like the vibrancy of it, and just like all of the details. I love things like that. So I'm excited to continue, but immersive reading was definitely the way to go with this one. I will say it took me a little bit to get with the program once the Hawthorne family was introduced, because they're from Texas and so they have like a southern accent, and the narrator is fine. I clicked her with Avery, connected the two, but when she's reading the parts of the Hawthorne family, I was kind of like, especially the boys. I'm kind of like, but I think my brain will get used to it as I continue. But I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from reading right now. But yeah, I feel like it's a good start so far. It's a new day. I'm about to pick up my grandma and take her to the hospital. She is okay. She fell, but she's gonna be okay. But the reason why I'm telling you guys that is because reading wise, I am currently still reading The Inheritance Games. I'll take it out here. I am on page 82, which is chapter 20, and I'm going to continue reading this while I'm in the waiting room or with her in the room and we're waiting. I wanted to check in before I got further along. I did read about 20 pages yesterday and I did get a little cringed out. I'm not going to lie. I updated my Goodreads and like left a note about it, but she was like rolling out of my massive bed. I reached over to grab my phones, plural, from their chargers, and it was just like, girl, we know you're rich. Like, no one talks like that, you know? I'm a little bit cringed out and I don't want to be. It's a little like just corny, maybe? I don't know if corny is the right word, but I'm trying to get over it because I know so many people love this book, but like, I don't know. I mentioned this earlier. I'm just really not vibing with the age of the characters. I feel like it would benefit if she was older. Like if she was a working class woman almost. I know that this is like, people describe this as like a Cinderella meets Knives Out, which sounds so good. But the execution, I'm waiting for the execution. Obviously, I'm barely meeting like the first like riddle of the story. I think that's the part that I'm at. I don't know. I'm trying to enjoy it without being cringed out, but I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm only 82 pages in, but I feel like that's a lot. I don't know. I'm disappointed that I'm not having the feeling that I thought I would. Like when I was reading The Naturals, I couldn't put it down. So I'm hoping that it's just a little bit of a hump to get over the beginning, and maybe once I get to like 100 pages in, I'll want to keep going. But right now I don't really care what happens, and I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked because I love The Naturals. So we will see. I'm not going to be checking in while I'm at the hospital, and I don't know how long I'm going to be there. So it could be that I'm just giving this intro for nothing and I'm going to be home soon. But just in case I'm there for hours and I actually end up reading a lot, there's a chance that I will finish this and I will come in and talk about it afterward. I don't know. I just wanted to check in. I am bringing my headphones so that way I can immersive read this, because I think it will help kind of keep my attention and actually keep me reading, because I would actually like to finish this book today or tomorrow, sometime this weekend, because I only have 10 days until I leave for my trip and I want to dedicate as much time as possible to reading Onyx Storm. So yeah, I'm gonna leave. That's just the update for The Inheritance Games. It's kind of sad, but fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that it gets better. All right, you guys, let's update this book. I'm currently on page 168. I think that's about 45% of the way through. So not quite halfway yet, but I'm 46% of the way through. I am going through this very fast. And currently I'm actually not really immersive reading as much anymore. I might do that a little bit more later today, but I've kind of just been listening to the audiobook. I'm in the middle of chapter 41, and the chapters are very short. I do have to say, I'm not really feeling this. I'm not connected to any of the characters. I really don't care about the plot. There's not even a character that I necessarily enjoy or that I'm rooting for, except for maybe Libby, who is Avery's sister. I don't know what it is specifically that is putting me off, but there are little things that I think are adding up. It's not that I'm hating it or disliking it. It's just that I'm not liking it. I'm kind of neutral, and that's not how you want to feel when you're reading a book. You want to love it, you know? And I'm just surprised. Like, actually, every single time that I pick this up to just get further along in the story, I'm just like, this has been sitting on my shelves for a while and I've been waiting to get it. Like, truly, I've been just waiting to pick it up and highly anticipating it because I love The Natural so much. I feel like I've said that so many times in this video. I'm also just thinking about how long the series is now. Like, how many books are in this series? I'm gonna look on Goodreads right now because I'm just, like, if I'm sitting here dreading continuing the series, like, what is that feeling? Why am I feeling that? I almost feel sad because I love The Naturals. And it also is so highly rated on Goodreads. It has a 4.13 star rating with over 1 million ratings. And so many people that I follow or watch on YouTube are rating it super highly, like 5 stars. A few people did rate it 4 stars, but I'm not even feeling a 4-star right now, you guys. Like, I'm bored and I don't want to DNF it because it's so fast to get through. And I'm not hating it. I'm not disliking it. I'm just not really engaged. I will say, Bailey, if you're watching this, my friend Bailey, she rated it 3 stars a year ago. And I feel like just looking at our Goodreads, like if I compare my Goodreads to hers, I feel like we kind of have similar tastes. So I should chat with her. After I finish this, I might text her and be like, hey, I see you rated The Inheritance Games 3 stars. Like, me too. I'm leaning towards like just middle of the road. I'm not disliking it. So there's no reason for me to rate it lower than a 3 stars at this point. But again, I'm not halfway through. Maybe the second half will wow me, but there's no reason for me to be almost 170 pages into a book and not be feeling amazing about it. So I feel like I might be able to finish this today. I talked about this in my doing book stuff video, which will probably come out before this one. So if you're hearing a repeat, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know the order of anything. I talked about this, but I wanted to finish this book over the weekend. Today is Monday that I'm filming this clip, and I had plans of doing my nails and finishing the audiobook, or at least getting a big chunk of it done while I was doing my nails. And then I got a notification that I was out of Spotify listening hours and that the audiobook from my library on Libby, there was a 5-week wait. There's no. I don't have 5 days, okay? I don't have 5 days to finish this. So I decided to just forget about it. Forget about it for a couple days. And then I looked today and it's letting me listen to it. And I think from memory, if I'm remembering correctly, my Spotify listening hours replenish at some point during the first week of each month. And today is October 6th. So I think that's correct, and it makes sense that it's letting me listen to it again. So I think I'm going to finish it ASAP because I have a very, very, very exciting book to read next. Yeah, that's the update right now. I think I'm going to be doing some mindless activities where I can just listen to the audiobook for this. And I'm not feeling any particular way about not immersive reading anymore because I'm not super enjoying this. So I don't feel like guilty. Not that I really ever feel guilty for listening to audiobooks. I love audiobooks. I don't think it's cheating. But sometimes I have this feeling where like I'm doing the book a disservice because I'm not paying enough attention. But I don't care anymore with this one. So I think I'm gonna do some like laminating type stuff. And that's something that I can listen to the audiobook for. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'll check in if I have a change of heart, or maybe if I'm done. I don't know. I don't want to just keep updating and saying still not liking it, still not liking it. So yeah, we'll see. I am popping in to do my final update for this video. This episode is definitely a long time coming, but it's safe to say that it is now over and I am so glad. Maybe that's a spoiler for how I enjoyed the inheritance games, but it is what it is. Also, the lighting is pretty bad. I feel like I'm a little backlit right now, but honestly, I just want this video to be done and over with for you guys. So let's hope that it doesn't get too dark outside, but I'm leaving on my trip tomorrow and my tripod is packed away and I just don't want to get it out. I'm going to be vlogging that trip for you, so that is why I'm bringing my tripod. But let's go over the 2 books that I read in this episode. So the first book that I read in this episode was Duke Deputy Cowboy. This is by Roz Denny Fox. I ended up giving this one a 2-star, and I actually left a Goodreads review on this. I said, when there's like no romance in a novel marketed as romance, and then I also said, when you spend 99% of the book reading about rodeos and a theft of a horse, but they don't solve whodunit by the end. This was just a no. Boring. Can't wait for it to be out of my hands. And yeah, just like I mentioned in my review, there was like very little romance in this. And I'm not even talking like physicalness. I'm talking like romance, like tension, pining, going after the girl. There was none of that in this, and just unfortunate. Like, I just feel like it shouldn't be marketed as an American romance. It was very American, I will say that. It's very like rodeo based, which rodeos aren't like just American, you know, but that was like a big part of the story. And another big part was that he's a deputy, but the sheriff is his cousin. And it's a lot about her being the sheriff and about him like being the deputy, working with her. Like I said, they're solving this like theft of a family horse, and apparently this is like a serial criminal. Like, this person has, or whoever they're hunting for, has like targeted a lot of different ranches around town, and they still can't find it. And then by the end of the story, you still don't know. Like, I'm not continuing the story. I don't care enough. I actually still don't care like whether they tell us or not. I just thought it was dumb to not include it, especially because this series is like a bunch of different authors. It says linked stories done by a group of authors. So they're all like linked, as it says. It's the Hearts of the Rodeo series. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other books in this series. So there's 6 total. But the fact that they're all written by other people, like, I don't know, I just feel like that wasn't the right thing to do, was to not like end the story. Like I said, barely any romance, but I'm supposed to believe that when he proposes, they get married. Like, it was just a no for me. I need to stop picking up little mass market paperbacks like this. I hope I've learned my lesson throughout this Tackling the TBR series, because these have been like my downfall. Book 2, on the other hand, this is not a mass market paperback. This is obviously The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And I have to say, I rated this a 2.5 stars, you guys. It's shocking to think that I would even be capable of reading a Jennifer Lynn Barnes book and not enjoying it, let alone rating it 2.5 stars. I really did not like this, and I was shocked the whole time because, I mean, if you've been watching this series since the beginning, any Jennifer Lynn Barnes book is like one that I have been waiting to get through. And then as soon as I finished the Natural series, I was looking forward to this one because I love the Natural series. I really love that series. The series as a whole is a 5-star series for me. There are some books that are only 4 stars, but so good. So good. But then this, I will give it the fact that it is Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing. And that's something I enjoyed in the Natural series, and I will say that might be the basis of at least getting a 2.5 star. I think if it wasn't Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing style, if it was a different writing style, it would be even lower, to be honest. I really disliked all of the characters, but especially the main character, and I am just not someone who likes to read books where there is a dislikable main character, just in general, but especially because with this one, she's not supposed to be disliked. You're supposed to like her, you're supposed to root for her, you're supposed to be happy for her that she came across all of this money. And it's marketed as a Cinderella meets Knives Out like basis of the story, which I would eat up. Like generally I feel like hearing that I should enjoy it. I love Knives Out, the Cinderella storyline, like love that. Which like I can see why people say that, but it's not giving the good parts of it. It's like the riddles aren't just engaging enough, they're not high stakes enough, and I don't know, this like cover is giving like high stakes like fantasy in a way, which I know this is not a fantasy novel. It's really not. It's more like a mystery, not even a thriller. It's more just like a mystery novel. The stakes weren't that high, like, and maybe that's something I loved about The Naturals, is how like it's YA in terms of language, in terms of the character's age, and a little bit of the content, but it was still a more mature content. These teenagers are closer to the age of 18. They're exposed to a lot more, and it's very high stakes. If a character has to die, a character has to die, you know? Whereas in this one, it is YA. The characters are teenagers. Well, Avery, the main character, is 17, I think, and the boys, the Hawthorne boys, are like, they're probably between the ages of 18 and like 21, 22. It's just not giving. And the love triangle is just also a no. So like this to me is more YA, in the realm of the YA that I am starting to not enjoy anymore. Like I think I'm just not meant for YA anymore. But then I read things like The Naturals and I'm like, yes, this is the YA that I truly enjoy. I think A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, is that also YA? I think it is. And like I think maybe I like YA, like murder mystery type books that have higher stakes, whereas in this it was just not for me. Not for me. I didn't enjoy the storyline. I don't feel connected to the characters at all. And I honestly don't care about continuing the series, which I am sad about because I thought I was gonna have a whole new series to start. I'm still debating on what to do with like my series tracker. But yeah, I'm disappointed. And I feel like someone will enjoy it more than I did. So that was the 2 books that I read in this episode. I'm unhauling both of them. So that is 2 books removed from my shelves that will be either listed on pangobooks or featured in an upcoming Little Free Library video. I'm sad that I didn't enjoy either of these books, but I'm happy that I'm making room on my shelves because they are at capacity for sure. That's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. If you like me, then subscribe for more content like this. I greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please leave a comment. Leave a comment actually if you've read either of these books. I know The Inheritance Games is a very popular book, so if you've read The Inheritance Games and if you liked it, please let me know in the comments what you liked about it. If you disliked it, please let me know what you disliked about it. Maybe we can connect on that front. But that will be all. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!